The Punic War rages on and the Roman forces have invaded African soil. However, the Carthaginians are in an immensely defensible position and look to repel the invaders. Hey, how's it going, guys? My name is Jackie Fish and welcome back once again to a glorious online battle for Divide et Impera. I don't get to say that too often, as most of my battle replays, unless they're from the head-to-head, do come from just vanilla Rome 2. So it's great to see some Divide et Impera online battles. I'm really excited to see how this one does turn out. I also just need to turn on my music once again. And let me ask you this, guys. When the music starts to play, I have a question. Where is this soundtrack from? I found this really cool mod. Where is the soundtrack from? Because it's from a certain game, and I'm sure many of you guys remember, especially if you're Total War fans. But yeah, just a juicy question for you. But yes, today we have an exciting battle. The Carthaginians have set up defenses on the hills with their Numidian allies. You know, a whole range of infantry. We've got some hoplites. I'm sure we'll have sacred bands scattered around. We have some of these Libyan bowmen. We have some awesome late periods. So it's kind of a bit later than the Punic Wars, but we do have the late period sacred bands right here, and just a whole wealth of other infantry, some awesome looking skirmishers, got some Numidian infantry and spearmen as well. Love the look of them in Divide et Impera. We also have a very, very big contingent of cavalry out here for the Numidians, obviously bringing a large force forward. Oh, wait, this isn't even the Numidians, is it? This is another faction. I'm completely butchering that. I can't remember their names. Oh, is this? No, this is, right? That is the Numidian flag. Either way, apologies if I butchered. No, this is a Messalesli. I butchered that as well, but you guys know what I mean. Anyway, back to the replay. They have a whole contingent of cavalry sat out on this left flank, obviously looking to harass the Roman and Arverni forces pushing up. Also, look at that in the distance. I believe that is Carthage in the distance, because of the temple up on the hill. Yeah, that is Carthage, and it looks awesome. So it's great to see that in the background as well. The Romans are obviously going to be stacked with infantry, and we also have some pretty heavy spear infantry as well from the Gauls. The Gauls and a large portion of like the Iberians and the and the Gallic forces have a very, very good spear roster in Divide et Impera. So it's going to be great to see how they turn out in this. You can see their long ass spears as well right here. If you guys have never played Divide et Impera before, as this battle does get kicked off, I'm sure we can just hit on players, but the cavalry runs away and skirmishes their opponents. If you've never played Divide et Impera before, basically, it is a massive overhaul mod for Rome 2. It's amazing. I highly recommend you check it out. You can just find it on Steam in the workshop. It basically revamps the way that everything works, completely changes the campaign up, adding in population, supply, reworking how buildings work, how the AI works. It's just amazing. It really, really is. And on the battle side of things, I think the battles are one of the best experiences I've ever had in a Total War game. Line of sight is extremely important. You can hide units, not on this map, but you can hide units very effectively behind bridge lines and hills, and the enemy won't be able to see them until they, cross the verge of the hill, or they kind of get close to the hill itself or into the forest itself. So you can really well set up ambushes. You can very, very effectively have battle lines clashing, and stamina is really, really important. I don't know, I can't praise this game enough, or this mod enough. So yeah, I highly recommend it. If you are new to Rome 2 or you haven't played Divide et Impera before, I 100% recommend it. So the Roman line is now coming into view. We can actually see what they do have. So a lot of these high tier legionary infantry units, 200 men per unit, is actually pretty disgusting. So even though I did kind of phrase this as a Punic War battle, it obviously isn't. Players are just kind of picking Rome and Carthage, and you can see just how glorious they look as the sun just glares off of their armor, and they go back into being invisible as the forces they just dip behind this little hill right here and you can't see them. And it kind of just makes things really interesting with that mechanic of line of sight, because it means, like scouting with your light cavalry is really, really important. And I guess that's kind of what the Numidians are doing right now as they're pushing up on this flank. Obviously, very, very effective skirmish cavalry. And realistically, what this force is trying to do on this flank is obviously draw the Roman cavalry away from the defensive position on the hill. But they're also looking to try and get the Romans to chase them so they can exhaust their cavalry and throw javelins at them whilst they run away, because this cavalry is never going to catch the lighter horses from Numidia. So ideally they basically just want to try their best to harass them, run away, and then as they get tired, engage them. You can already see this cavalry is active, whereas the Numidian cavalry is fresh, and that plays a big role in Divided Impera. And here we go, the first cavalry engagement smashing in as the forces do collide. And again, let me know in the comments what that music's from. I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but I'll be interested to see how many of you guys pick up on it, because, yeah, I haven't heard it for a long, long time. And it's a game made by Creative Assembly as well. It's absolutely awesome. So now we have the cavalry fighting in hard. The Numidians showing their prowess on the battlefield. Deadly stuff. Indeed. Oh my god, this music is intense. I don't remember it being like this, but my god, that's awesome. You can also see the Gauls have also, or the Arverni, have dispatched a decent portion of their heavy infantry pretty far away from the hill, which is going to be kind of risky. The Romans are obviously looking to pursue this pretty heavily, but I'm not sure if they're going to be able to achieve that. And the cavalry fight is just absolutely intense right now. Look at how many horses are clashing in, but this is going to be huge for the cavalry engagement. As the Arverni have brought over 4 units of cavalry, that's going to be massive in this battle. That's going to allow them to basically dominate this cavalry fight. And you can see these forces, these horses, do realize that, and they're pulling out of this, realizing that the infantry is soon to be upon them, and that's going to desperately hurt. But I mean, look at the damage they've racked up on the Roman lines, taking these general units and the rest of the infantry down pretty heavily. Yeah, you can see a lot of these consul cavalrymen and other horses, taking a lot of damage. And even though they do lose a decent amount of their horses running away, they still manage to keep a lot of theirs alive. Oh, they might lose their general necessarily easily, which would be so goddamn unfortunate. But he might have already have got out, and his banner is just a little bit further back. I think that's his unit right there, and he needs to obviously bring it back even further. Oh, but actually might get a kill over here as well, one of the elite units of cavalry. But now the Arverni have turned up, and they're just going to continue just to push off the cavalry and basically make them retreat back to their hill defense, which is the main fighting of the battlefield. And you can see that the Carthaginians are set up very, very nicely. I mean, look at these barricades. They've got hoplites in the walls, in the gaps. But this does kind of give them a false sense of security, as the attackers can break down these barricades, they can set them ablaze, and that's going to be pretty unfortunate for them. The heavy spears advancing forward, going to be tanking a handful of these javelin throws as they push forward. But in Divided Impera, barricades act as a deterrent. They don't go down in like 4 or 5 hits like they do in normal Rome Total War. It takes a handful of minutes to actually bring the barricades down, so you can't expect you to just quickly break through them. It's going to take you some time, but realistically there's nothing stopping them from just working on these barricades before engaging the hoplites. Obviously, besides the superior missiles, they can just start hitting these down, using that to their advantage. Oh, some of the Gallic cavalry has well overstepped its boundary right here, and they're going to be getting dived upon and taken care of. This light Gallic cavalry, there's going to be no match for the heavily armored Numidians. And they're going to run them through, and break that horse pretty quickly. But this is going to give time for the rest of the force to make their way over. But yeah, this cavalry is probably exhausted right now. Yeah, it's all winded, which is going to severely affect their capabilities in melee. And again, just kind of a retreat back, I guess. I guess the Gauls don't want to push forward. And they do have some skirmishers back here. Oh, they also have a Scorpion, which is a pretty nice position here to hammer away the Carthaginians on that hill. You know, that's going to punish them. Obviously, they want to stick very stationary, so this is the perfect tool. And the Romans are using everything at their disposal just to hit away. I think they're hitting this unit right here. Yeah, that won't kill a ton of them, but it will slowly rack up damage on them bit after bit, and will slowly bring down their numbers, which is always cool to see. Oh, here we go. A huge push on the left flank by the horses. A lot of the javelins going out, hammering the Roman formation. However, I think they've just formed a testudo, which is going to very much protect them. Even with them rear javelin shots, I think a lot of them will bounce off. However, they could quite easily charge this if they wanted to. The Romans are going to form a square formation, taking lots of damage. I say they're only losing like 6 men. They are going to form a square now, just obviously to protect them from being enveloped. which is always very important, because I was just suggesting they should try and envelop this Roman unit and break it, because units in Divided Impera, if they do get enveloped, break very quickly. You know, it's something that you have to try and prevent. But it seems like the Numidians are going in for an all-or-nothing charge here on the Scorpions. Unfortunately, I think the Romans are going to get in the defensive setup just in time. But this is obviously also, again, tiring out the Roman formation. The cavalry's going to go in, take a peeler throw, but once again, they do manage to get in there and make a quite easy break for Scorpion as they charge into the formation and breach it. You know, this unit can quite easily break. You know, light infantry is very, very susceptible to cavalry charges. They tend to break very quickly. Also, this unit is tired, so the morale's not going to be as good. And it's probably worth sacrificing a handful of units. So, yeah, we're definitely seeing a very effective matchup here in the back. The cavalry definitely being used effectively to harass their opponents and staying true to the name. Because even this unit of cavalry who's broken through, you know, is now segregated. And I'm sure the Sharks will be circling to envelop that. However, we do have the Roman general moving in there in his wedge formation, looking to reinforce his, you know, his partner cavalry. And going in there, getting a very, very nice charge on the unit, ripping through that flank. However, more cavalry is going in, but again, the Romans can quite quickly advance in. It seems like the artillery did survive, maybe losing 1 or 2 Scorpions. Looks like they've lost like maybe 3 Scorpions, which honestly is not that bad. Maybe they can even get more. And once again, the Numidian cavalry is just falling back once again. Doing some good damage, but a lot of the cavalry has now been taken care of, and the Gauls are now advancing forward. They're active because they're only marching, I believe. They're not. Oh wait, they are actually running. So these Gauls could get pretty tired pretty quickly, and that's obviously going to affect their ability to break the Carthaginian defense. Because realistically, all we've had so far is a very, very nice skirmish on the outskirts of this fortification. Now the real battle will commence, and it's going to be really, really important to see who comes out on top on the initial fight. We have some of these archers now just picking away shots off on the Gallic bowmen out here. This is definitely a unit, obviously even bowmen, these javelins, and this is a unit you definitely want to try and protect. So bringing them back is very, very important. Probably trying to rack up kills on this phalanx right here, which again looks so goddamn clean. I love the units here in Phalanx, in Divided Impera. An amazing unit for sure. But the Numidians have been scared off. Only 4 units of their cavalry still left remaining. And obviously this unit over here, which will be going down very, very quickly, I would assume, close to breaking. So the Romans should be able to have this and then initiate their assault on the fort. They also have a lot of peeler as well. And these peelers from these 200-man units are going to be insane. Like, these are late period Roman units. And they also have an Eagle First cohort here as well, holding that, you know, that Eagle up heavily. But oh my god, I mean, just look at that Roman. That Centurion is ready for battle, blade in hand. Yeah, he is pretty goddamn scary. I mean, look at them, yeah, them Roman boys. Not something you want to mess with or whatsoever, as I take a beautiful screenshot and it runs me away. Of course. You can see the Gauls moving forward a little bit, obviously just trying to harass, envelop this position as best as they can, because that's something you definitely want to do in a battle like this, is you want to try and just come at it from every single angle. There is room to obviously go around the back, so I like it that the players have given room for the players to do that. But yeah, you want to be coming in from every single side. You want to try and stretch the defenders, because these barricades will eventually break down during the battle. And the Carthaginians and the Messalizi will not have enough men to reinforce every single gap that is created by the superior numbers. I don't know if we can take a look at the numbers. Doesn't seem like it is the case. So I imagine numbers are probably pretty similar for the most part. And I'm hoping we'll just see a big old advance forward. Obviously using this Scorpion effectively. It does actually seem like they lost a single Scorpion. They're basically down to hardly any reserves though. But I don't think the Romans are going to allow the Messalizi to really get pushed in and breaching this formation. So right now the Scorpions are just unloading shot after shot, trying to break down. And here we go. The Roman advance on the hill. Oh, that looks amazing. I love the look of the Romans. And you can see these are the later period Roman infantry. I think these are the Augustus Reform Legionaries. But I could be wrong in that. Do let me know in the comments down below. I think so, because they've got these type of shields here. And a lot of them are wearing like more like chain rather than the plated, not plate, but you know what I mean, like rather than this armor. Again, let me know in the comments down below. I'd love to find out. Also, you can see that eagle in the distance. Obviously, a lot of these other groups of legionary do not have the eagle. So the legionary first cohort does. You can see it in the distance just about. And that thick unit. This is a thick ass unit. 400 legionaries. I mean, my god, how scary is that? That's going to be a brutal fight indeed. And there you go. The first peeler throws are now being unleashed. I mean, just imagine this unit with their peeler throws. That's 400 peelers going out. That's just going to devastate the Carthaginian hoplite wall. I can't imagine many of them are going to be left remaining as the Romans get ready to push in. Luckily, these barricades did absorb a decent portion of the javelins. So that's actually okay. Definitely respectable right there. And the rest of the Romans are probably just taking a knee now after their advance, getting their breath back for a charge. They have obviously wounded a decent portion of these guys, taking down a handful of their soldiers. This unit has definitely been the unit being punished by the Scorpions and the rest of the Peeler as well. But here we go, the Romans are going to clash in against the Hoplites. And the Hoplites work in a very unique way in Divide et Impera. Some of you guys playing this might not know about the way that Hoplites work. So basically, obviously, hoplites are extremely effective from the front line. In hoplite wall, they're going to basically be impenetrable. But the way you use hoplites in Divide et Impera is that you have several attack modes. You have the brace standing mode. Oh my god, I just got punched, tripped, and then strangled. Oh my god, look at that! I've like never. Oh my god! That was an insane kill animation. That was actually wild. I don't think I've ever seen that animation before. That was insane. Have you guys seen that animation much before? Oh my god, that was just a crazy animation. That was wild. Wow, that was epic. But yeah, anyway, the way the battles work, or the way that hoplites work in Divide et Impera, is you have the stationary mode where you just don't press anything. You have the attack mode where you click the enemy unit once, and your hoplite will push forward and attack. And then you have a much more aggressive hoplite wall where you double click and the hoplite will push into the enemy, advancing and attacking at the same time. So that basically makes this unit a lot more flexible and can do a lot more that you need it to do. It seems like the attackers are really focusing down these 1 or 2 units of hoplites out on this flank, bringing up a unit of javelins right now. However, that javelin unit is being hammered by archer fire from the Carthaginians. The rest of the Romans have formed up a pretty long testudo. This is a long boy right here indeed. The eagle is at the back as well. Should be at the front leading the men, but hey, what can you do? Roman formations though are advancing in several of these positions. And you can see them just trying to do as much damage as possible, try and whittle these guys down. Also, attacking these barricades would be not a bad idea. Oh, this unit's going up against the late Sacred Band as well. Oh, it's going to be a hard uphill battle for the Romans, but I'm sure if anyone can do it, the Romans can. And they really need to start working down these barricades. Maybe they made an agreement that they're not going to try and take down these barricades. That could definitely be a possibility. But we'll have to see. And if we take a nice little zoom out of the battlefield, you can see that this frontal assault has fully, kind of happened now. The Numidian horses are still back here, just hiding away behind the rocks. I doubt the attackers can see them right now. I'm sure they are just hidden, but we can see them because we are looking from the point of view of the Carthaginians. But yeah, they really need to get in onto these barricades and start opening gaps because they're just not going to break through the hoplite wall. As they try and outflank this position, because maybe in Rome 2 vanilla you can break through hoplite walls from the front if you just throw enough at it, but in Divide et Impera you're just going to kind of bounce off of it, and even with probably one of the best attacking units in the game, you're still going to struggle to do that, especially against high period hoplites. These are probably, I think, hoplites from Greece, maybe mercenaries. And even the Numidians as well have a lot more lighter spears, but they're still very aggressive and effective at breaking through. So yeah, you can see the Romans actually having to pull back a little bit because they just can't break through these formations. Even the unit that is severely broken up is having to be pulled back. So I'm hoping to see these barricades do get assaulted pretty quickly. But maybe they are just going to try and brute force their way through. Obviously they have all this cavalry as well, and soon enough I imagine this Scorpion is going to run out of ammunition and they can just abandon it and this cavalry can look for a rear charge or a gap in the wall. It does seem like as well the Arvenni are just sitting back and using as many missiles as they can to try and bring down this front line. But yeah, the sacred band at the rear of the formation is going to be so difficult to try and breach. Look at that as well, the lone horse as well. So this lone horse is actually going to start taking down this barricade a little bit. You can see how little this one soldier does do as he tries to get to his brethren. Here we go, more of the forces pushing forward. Yeah, there must have been a rule. Oh no, there isn't a rule. They're just now attacking the barricades, which is good to see. So yeah, you can see how slowly this barricade does go down. If they really buy you like, a good, 4 or 5 minutes, just to, so that you can preemptively set up your defenses, you can really slow down defenders. And in like head-to-heads, which me and the Republic of Play are doing, these barricades are so useful because in siege battles we play with a 40-minute battle time on the campaign map. So that basically means that these barricades can buy you so much time. If you put like 4 or 5 of them down a street, it's going to take them a long time to get through that, and it's just so effective. But yeah, as soon as this does go down, it's going to be pretty scary. I'm assuming the Romans are now going to start to approach this barricade. You can see this testudo advancing up the hill. Oh my god, that looks really nice. Oh my god, just look at that position, boys, as the Romans advance. You just see the testudo moving up. I assume they're going to be looking to try and hammer this barricade, or maybe just come from the flank on the Messalese. Hitting them from the side obviously is a pretty effective line. And there's also a gap here you could use to try and outflank the hoplite wall that is sitting so stationary. Yeah, they're going to be coming to the flank right there in that testudo, breaking testudo, and then flying in. Oh my god, look at these men! They are so much taller than the Romans. I know Romans were supposedly short, but Jesus Christ, these men are mountains! Look at them! They are huge compared to the Romans. This is like the Hobbits. Oh my god, he's like a child. These guys are insane. Why are they so big? That's hilarious. I know like they would be taller, but that much is insane. So here we go. The Gauls have now charged forward along this entire position. We're also engaging some of the enemy forces outside the settlement, which provides a pretty nice opportunity if they want to bring their cavalry over and rear charge this unit. Again, as I've been saying, in Divided Impera, if they were to get a heavy cavalry unit to rear charge the spear unit and there was nothing to support them, they would probably just end up breaking, Even this is a pretty late game unit, they would break from a heavy cavalry rear charge. Luckily, more reinforcements are coming out to meet them. These are just for light, though. These are heavy spears as well. So yeah, they're trying to look to maybe try and get a nice little outflank, and it's really up to the cavalry to come over, and you can see they're doing exactly that. The cavalry is marching over, trotting over, I should say, over to this position, and probably going to be looking to get in the rear of these guys. Some rear charges will be devastating, and then they can capitalize on that. Here we go. The Romans are now fully breaking down these barricades. Perfect to see. It's going to provide them with some very, very nice pushes forward. And definitely a good advance onto the enemy formation. However, the Sacred Band are now being committed to this breach point, and now the fight is fully underway. You can see every single position is being fought over, tooth and nail. Even the archers are now being thrown in with their little walking stick and knives. Basically sent to die and tie out the enemy. It's going to be pretty effective, I would assume. But as soon as the cavalry turns up here, I think it's going to be brutal. They even left some cavalry back to continue to protect this Scorpion. Out of interest, how much is this Scorpion on? 130 kills, pretty good. That's very respectable for sure. And you can see the Carthaginian position is overrun right now. And they only have a handful of units still back here. Especially if the Gauls decide to charge in and break down more of these barricades. I mean, as these barricades go down, it's going to really leave this formation very, very vulnerable. And here we go. The Numidians are going in for a charge, and I think they've caught the Romans off guard. The Romans are sitting stationary. They throw their javelins and get the charge off. I think we might see a Roman break back here. As that cavalry charge has ripped through their ranks, getting dents into them. And yeah, we're going to see a full-on break right there. Yeah, these guys are already wounded, and, sitting stationary, receiving that cavalry charge is just going to send them, to Davy Jones's locker away from this battle. Over on this other flank as well, the Romans are counter-charging though, looking to get into the back of the the bloody Numidians, that's what I'll call them. And they did manage to turn and face, but you can see their numbers dropping quickly. And this is just the devastating morale cavalry can have. You know, it is your job at playing Divided Impera to protect your rears and your flanks. It tries to stimulate more realistic combat. And obviously, you know, if you get a heavy cavalry charge in the rear, I'm going to be dropping my weapon, holding my shield up, and freaking running. And that's exactly what has happened. There's no support for these guys, and the cavalry coming in from the back is going to completely dominate that situation. Another cavalry charge coming in again. And especially as well because these guys are counter-charging cavalry, which is obviously not going to be effective. They need to be braced to repel that. So it's just really important in Divided Impera to protect your back, because if you don't, a cavalry charge can, you know, either do a lot of damage or rout your unit and send it back. How are the Romans faring along the battle line? We can probably just take a little look here. You slap the camera a little bit. You can see the Romans are pushing forward kind of effectively. The first cohort as well, advancing. The hoplite walls, you can just see how effective hoplite walls are, and not like they should be, you know. No matter what you throw at them, they're going to do a pretty decent job. You know, heavy spears, their job is to hold. And you can see they're doing exactly that along this fortification. Just really effective at keeping the enemy at bay. But also the attackers have done a great job at breaking down these barricades. And they've done a very good job, because as soon as you get around the flank of a hoplite, you slaughter it. The morale drops very quickly, and you just really take care of it. And that's exactly what's happened right here. This unit has been hit from the flank, and its numbers are dropping, its morale is dropping. And if they can break this, then oh my god, look at that. It opens up such a big hole. You can see that the enemy general, though, is moving forward. I think this is Hannibal himself, maybe. Maybe not, actually. I can't see his leopard print. It's not feeling saucy tonight, but either way, we have this heavy unit of cavalry making its way over, probably going to go and drop a rally here. The Carthaginians have also done exactly the same on this Roman unit as well, looking to move in with Sacred Band to take that out. The cavalry's doing such an effective job of beating back the rest of the horse, and I don't know who's going to win this. It does seem like the Romans have a pretty good chance of nullifying this. We also have the Gauls moving around this flank. You know, hammering around a few of these barricades will probably be pretty effective as well, as it doesn't seem like they have any more width to them whatsoever. They've kind of committed everything they have besides these handful of units. And stuff like this I think is going to break. I can't imagine that the heavy spears of Gaul are going to lose to the very heavy spears of Numidia, but they might. I think the Gauls will win this one though. Especially as they're breaking this barricade down as well. So I imagine they'll probably look to try and break this unit maybe, rather than going after the Sacred Band. And the Sacred Band is obviously, you know, it looks so goddamn clean. I mean, just look at that. They look amazing, the Sacred Band. But yeah, I mean, they're going to be holding for a while. Even if you envelop the Sacred Band, even if you rear charge the Sacred Band, they tend not to break very quickly, or at all. So unlike what we saw of the Numidian chargers out there, being charged in the rear against Roman cavalry, if you did that to the Sacred Band, they would take casualties, so they'd be able to regain their coherence pretty quickly. So I'd imagine charging something over here is probably pretty important. And there you go. Oh, that's a brutal charge there by the enemy general. Carthaginian general going in, going to pull out there, take some casualties as he retreats out, but devastating on these units, and actually managing to break that unit as they pull out, as the casualties rack up. And yeah, right now there's no cavalry support out here whatsoever for the Gauls, so this unit of horse is going to be able to just straight up dominate the position. And right there we're seeing a big break there. Two pretty strong half-strength units of Romans just fleeing from the battle, and all of a sudden we're getting a big old break from the Roman side of things. However, the Romans are fighting back along the border. I imagine the Roman general maybe just died, and that, you know, pretty much threw some disarray into the Roman lines. But overall, a pretty brutal experience right now. You can see that the Carthaginians now have a decent amount of extra infantry that they can now deploy to these other troubled areas that look to be struggling. I mean, realistically, I would imagine the Romans needed to bring a lot more missiles. Or the Gauls just needed to bring a lot more missiles. but they did obviously get under a lot of pressure very early on from the cavalry. The cavalry skirmish at the beginning of a battle was pretty brutal. Also, I apologize for the stutters. I don't really know why. Why the replay is stuttering here and there. Because in the head-to-heads, we play these battles, you know, 20,000 man battles, and they're pretty smooth, so... Seems to be just, yeah, lacking a little bit, which I don't really know why. The Eagle First cohort, though, is pushing forward. I mean, look at that. They've only lost 24 men. The Eagle First cohort is insane. It's so good, and they've killed 69. Hey, man, my guy. That's brutal indeed. They're going to be able to continue to push. It really is up to this Eagle First cohort to rally the men, because they do have an ability to keep infantry fighting hard and long. And as you can see, that's the reason why this unit right here hasn't broken from the battle. Generally, when you get down below a quarter of the men in the unit, unless there's something keeping the men there, they will tend to break. Because the Eagle First cohorts here, these guys are being inspired by them, and that's going to be helping them out pretty heavily. The rest of the Roman infantry trying to push forward. It's really up to these guys to break through on the positions where they don't have hoplites. You know, the Romans are most effective, obviously, when they're fighting enemy sword infantry, because they're just outclassing so much. But when they're fighting against hoplites, they really struggle unless they can get round. There is still some cavalry, though, left remaining. What, 2-3 units of cavalry, which is going to be pretty useful. The Numidians seem like they've been completely broken. However, the Carthaginian general is just running amok in his back rank, rear charging into what remains of the Arvenni. That's going to be sending shockwaves throughout their ranks. Yeah, another rear charge here going in. And these guys are really stuck between a rock and a hard place. The cavalry charge coming in, that was brutal. And then they're just getting pushed further forward onto the sacred band. And I think that's why we're seeing the Romans bring over as much cavalry as they can to help out. Even though it does seem like they're also maybe going to be trying to breach these gaps. Trying to rear charge. That's a pathetic charge there by the Romans. Also, this general needs to be very careful. They do not want to lose him. Look, this cavalry unit is just diving in. What the hell? I mean, obviously it's enveloping these guys. Their formation has been breached by them. But again, they're going to be able to regain their coherence and probably stick around. And more of a Roman line is breaking. We are seeing a few kind of banners wavering from the Carthaginians, but for the most part, they're looking pretty good. And as you can see, the Carthaginian general is just breaching every spear line right now, already up to 156 kills. The Romans have got round the back now, and this is going to be kind of an all-or-nothing charge by the Roman consul. If they can break and make a big breach, then they're going to be very effective. I just don't know if they can. I mean, that was very nice. But there just might be too few in number, and the Carthaginians immediately gobble up this general. And if he goes down, he might have already died, if I'm honest, but if he goes down, that's going to be very unfortunate. It is allowing the rest of the Roman army to get in, and very close to breaching and breaking this unit of hoplites. And this could be exactly what they need to. If they could envelop this, then maybe the Romans can bring the battle back in their favor. I just don't see it happening right now. The Carthaginians are sending back the attackers every step of the way. And the Roman general is now gone. This unit, oh my god, even the Eagle First cohort is starting to break. So there is like a system in place in Divide et Impera, where the army, if it's losing and it's going to lose a battle, our units will just break. They won't pointlessly fight on to the end. You know, if the battle's over, the morale system knows it's over, and they kind of really give the attackers or the faction losing a big morale penalty to kind of speed that up, which I think is pretty nice. I think they do it in Warhammer Total War. Basically, it's kind of like when the battle's over, there's no point pointlessly fighting on. Now, there's a lot of cases where that doesn't happen, and battles can be really close, but if one side massively takes the advantage, you know, forces will get you know, battered down, and unless, you know, they'll still need something else like a formation breach or heavy casualties to break them, or missile fire to break them, but they'll be more likely to break. You know, they won't just randomly break out of nowhere. There'll be reasons adding up upon that army loss mechanic. And right now the Romans, I think, are going to be feeling it. We have some pushes still left remaining, but with only 3 minutes left, I cannot see the attackers breaching this wall. Even though they are doing some good damage along the battle line, it's just not enough, really. And now the Carthaginian general here is as well. Yeah, just looking to do this. And this unit is enveloped on every single side, I imagine. I mean, this just goes to show, though, how strong the Romans are. They're down to half strength. Their general has broken. They're being flanked by Sacred Band. And they've just been recharged. And they're still holding off on by the skin of their teeth. I mean, that's pretty insane by the Romans. It's going to take a couple more rear charges, or for them to get exhausted, and then they might break. The Eagle first cohort as well. It's just insane. But again, the Carthaginian general can just continue to come in, hit these guys in the back, do a ton of damage to them and get out. And even the Eagle first cohort is just like, you know, not having this. Even with 300 men left, they're seeing the battle is lost. The battle is folly. Yeah, the Romans are just receiving, you know, complete, because again, they're being attacked from the side over here. They're being attacked from the side here, and from the front, and from the back. They're taking casualties. They might not officially rout, but they're going to get very close to doing it. They're also exhausted as well. And as you can see, if we zoom out once again, we can really see the battle. So this part of the battle is, you know, pretty held up, but we do see some Sacred Band moving around the flanks. The Roman battle line is just being completely hammered. You know, wave after wave of cavalry charge coming in. The Arverni are very close to breaking as well as more units come in. The Romans are being just, surrounded. And this Carthaginian in general is hands down been the MVP of this battle. You know, as a battle like this, if there's no support line, it can just be so vulnerable to cavalry charges. And you can see that definitely coming into play. More of these guys breaking, and now we just have the last of the Romans. The Eagle first cohort sticking around to the bitter end. You can even see some battle lines back here as well, as the last pockets of resistance just get stumped out by the Carthaginians, and they send the invaders back to whence they came. Yeah, again, a lot of units are just simply breaking now. The entire Roman line has been done. The Eagle, I imagine, has fallen. Oh, the Eagle is still there. They're going to try and get away with it. I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with it, but they're running. I'm sure they'll be hunted down, and that Eagle will be taken by the Carthaginians, melted down and sent back to the Romans. And now it's just, I mean, who would have thought it that the Arverni would be the last faction still left here? I definitely would have seen the Romans would have stuck around a little bit longer. You have a cavalry charge here again, but that's going to be repelled quite nicely. And you actually see as well how effective this light cavalry charge was against the Sacred, even Sacred Band, like some of the best spearmen in the game. They weren't stationary, they were marching, and they got hit, and their lines, they didn't take that many casualties, but their line got completely breached. So it's just so effective to see that happening. And there you go. The battle is over. The defenders managed to repel their enemies. And it was a costly victory, but a victory nonetheless. So yeah, massive shout out to the guys who played in this battle. I really appreciate it. It's great to see Divide et Impera online battles alongside your Rome 2 online battles. So massive thank you to you guys. You can see the devastating of the Messalese cavalry as well. 200 kills, 200 kills. Pretty insane. And also, look at that. These guys, this spear infantry, did a very decent job as well. For the Gauls, again, their infantry doing a very nice job. 240 kills on this unit. Over on the Roman side of things, their cavalry doing pretty decent. Their infantry, though, I mean, that's not often you say that, but the infantry just doesn't seem like they could really breach the Carthaginian line of, of the Sacred Band and also of the hoplites. It was, a hard push for them for sure. And the general over 300 kills, pretty goddamn impressive there by the Carthaginians. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this battle. If you did, drop a like and a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. I upload every single day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.